Hi, I'm Eve Menezes Cunningham, and welcome to the Feel Better Everyday podcast, helping you connect with and take better care of yourself and create a life you don't need to retreat from. Welcome to episode 25 of the Feel Better Everyday podcast with today's guest, Louise Brown. She's a wonderful therapist and advocate for neurodivergent people, doing amazing things in the therapy space. And I love what she's talking about in terms of spiky profiles and suddenly feel like I know myself much better. And as you listen, I'd love for you to think about how you can be kinder to yourself, amp up that self-compassion around your own needs. And I really hope you enjoy the episode. So welcome, Louise Brown. It's such a delight to finally meet you on screen, like kind of live, although we're not in person. Thank you so much for joining me on the Feel Better Everyday podcast.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here. I'm really pleased and to get to see you, having kind of known of you for so long.
It's really strange because I'm thinking probably for years we've been in similar therapy groups, and you're known like for your work around your activism, really, as a therapist working with neurodivergent. So I was delighted when you said you'd come on to the podcast, and I'd love to know how long you've been doing what you're doing and what you're working on at the moment.
So I've been a therapist. I qualified in 2015, 2016. Gosh, that's a long time. Doesn't feel that long. In terms of the neurodivergent stuff, so I worked previously as a disability advisor. So that's where I first came across the kind of neurodiversity paradigm. I was totally unaware of my own neurodivergence until the end of 2019, when a therapist asked me if I thought that I might be, which I was incredulous about, because how could I possibly be and not know anything about it? And yeah, it turns out I got an autism diagnosis in 2020, and that really coincided with me starting private practice and this whole journey of kind of the more I learned about myself and actually my own difficulties with finding a therapist who was neuroaffirming. I kind of wanted someone with lived experience because not many people were talking about it then. And so I went through a whole journey of kind of coming out really as a multiply neurodivergent therapist and opening up that space. So it's been about, 4 years now. It feels like I've been doing it forever though.
And I loved what you said on the fantastic Josephine Hughes's podcast, Good Enough Counsellors, about how you created your private practice around your self-care. I'd love for you to tell me what you would do in an ideal world with all the time and energy and space available each morning.
Oh,
And
so
sorry, just to add, sorry. So not just basic self-care, but if there's anything you could do to connect with that highest, wisest, truest part of yourself as well.
Yeah, so if I have all the energy in the world, that's a really interesting one, because I've also got long COVID, so I get fatigued, so I have to
Yeah.
curtail kind of some of the physical stuff. But yeah, if that was all gone, then I would start with a yoga practice, which is something that I used to do kind of every morning first thing.
Yeah.
Something about the I can't meditate. My brain is too busy. The ADHD bits are not having any of it. But that kind of moving meditation for me, it just grounded me in myself. It would set me up for the whole day. So I would do that. I would probably be a very healthy homemade smoothie for breakfast. I would do some journaling. Quite often I do that around tarot cards. So I use them as a self-reflective tool. So I pull a card for the day. I usually pull a card for my inner child. I have different decks for different parts of me. So I would give some time to that practice to connect with where I am at the moment. And mornings are actually when I feel most active. So I try and squeeze all of the good things into the mornings while I've got my most energy. And then a gentle start into work with kind of some time to, just settle in and ground into the day, maybe a bit of time outside. Yeah, watching the birds at the bird feeder in my garden is my current favourite.
Lovely. So I was going to say the reason I started this podcast was to share the discrepancy between so many of our ideal and reality. What is your essential? What is your actual morning like?
My essential, my essential is a cup of tea,
Okay.
actually. That's the one thing that is a non-negotiable, is yeah, and actually I usually get up, I make my cup of tea and I clear my kitchen. If yeah, there's any dishes left
Yeah.
over, or I make sure the sides are clear, and that somehow kind of clears my mind. And
Yeah.
then it depends on, yeah, so that's the minimum if my fatigue's pretty high.
Yeah.
If I've got more energy, then I'll quite often I'll do the journal and the tarot pulls,
Yeah.
and that's habit wise. Sometimes I'm better at that, and I try and do some breath work,
Mm.
so some yogic breathing, just to again ground me into myself.
Yeah. And what kind of breath work would be your go-to? What kind of practice?
So just some coherent breathing, so
Yeah,
just
lovely.
equal inhale,
Yeah.
exhales, just that kind of,
Yeah.
as part of the long COVID, I had quite
Yeah.
dysregulated breath for a while afterwards. So it was
Yeah.
a practice I worked on with my yoga teacher, who's a
Yeah.
yoga therapist, to
Yeah.
really support my,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll include a link to coherent breathing and some of the research around that in the show notes as well,
Fab.
because it's a really lovely
Yeah,
practice.
great
What
practice.
about later in the day, your ideal later in the day and winding down for bed self-care routine?
So my ideal one would involve my wife cooking dinner, which does not happen very often, but is lovely when it does. Like to eat earlier, and then a bit of downtime. So sometimes we'd watch something together, or now the nights are earlier, go for a
Yeah,
walk in the park. And there's
yeah.
goslings at the moment, which is fills me with joy. And yeah,
Yeah.
visit the little owl that lives in the park near us.
Oh my goodness.
It's so, yeah, you have to go at kind of right at the beginning or the end of the day when it's really quiet,
Yeah.
but it's
Oh,
very exciting if you catch sight
yeah.
of him. And then
Yeah.
I have a specific shower gel I use at night time, to get my body ready into, at the transitions, because I'm autistic, can be quite difficult. So
Yeah.
I kind of like the using sensory things to manage them.
Yeah.
And then I have a book that I only ever read at bedtime. So I like to go to bed really early, and then I get an hour or two of sitting in bed
Wonderful.
reading my book. And it's not quite a physical book, but it is on my Kindle, so I don't get screen glare, put my phone
Yeah.
away. And then I have an audio book that I tend to listen to as I'm drifting off to sleep, because that stops the ADHD bits going off
Yep.
and doing all sorts of, yeah, interesting things when I'm trying to settle down. So I listen to
Yeah.
Terry Pratchett's Discworld, which I
Okay.
know like the back of my hand. So the familiarity is really
Yeah.
comforting, but it keeps my brain occupied just enough
Yeah.
to stop me, yeah, going off and,
Yeah.
yeah, going into an anxiety spiral.
Okay. And what would be your one essential, like what would be the most important element of that if you didn't have, I don't want to send you into an anxiety spiral
Yeah.
now, but if you didn't have
The
the equipment.
non-negotiable is listening to an audiobook as I go to sleep.
Okay. Yeah.
That's, yeah, pretty much every day. That's
Yeah.
the thing that I do. And because I only listen to those books at night time,
Yeah.
again, it's got that associative. So yeah,
Yeah.
bare minimum would be
Yeah.
that.
When I started, I was insomniac from primary school until my 20s. And when I got it under control, I was like that with crime fiction. And I'd read
Mm,
just a few pages before bed and like for over a decade. And then if I read it on a tube, my eyes would start getting heavy. And then one night it was like, oh, this is really gruesome. And I didn't read it again. But it's that anchoring something
yeah,
specific, whatever works for you.
yeah, yeah. And it's, as I'm moving into perimenopause and sleep is becoming more elusive, it's
Yeah,
middle of the night. I know I can put it on, and 5 minutes later, I'm gone.
brilliant.
It's, yeah,
Yeah,
it's amazing.
yeah. Okay, and what do you wish you could send in terms of love and wisdom to younger you, whenever that younger you might have been as a child or early on in your career?
An awesome question.
Yes.
Knowledge, absolutely knowledge. If I had known about my neurodivergence and my spiky profile, and I had known it was okay to attend to those needs,
Yeah,
that's the thing that would have made the difference, because I spent so long ignoring those needs because I
yeah,
didn't think they were the ones that I was supposed to have. And
yeah,
that's been the hugest change for me, is actually
yeah,
saying, no, I do need quiet time. I do need to take time with transitions. And
yeah.
it's okay to honor that.
And can you just say a little about spiky profile for people
Yes.
who might not know?
Yeah, so that's the way for lots of neurodivergent folks. So neurotypical people tend to have a linear profile, which means our
Mhm.
your ability to do things tends to be the same. So if you're
Yeah.
kind of good at schoolwork, you tend to have a general goodness at all schoolwork, whereas with spiky profiles, it's much more inconsistent. So I'm hyperlexic, love reading, have read from a really early age, have a really good
Yeah.
vocabulary because I do that.
Yeah.
But I can't spell and I can't do grammar. Well, at school that
Yeah.
confused everyone because either
Yeah.
they didn't believe me that I read as much as I did because my spelling was so bad, or they presumed
Yeah.
I should be able to spell better. And so it's that disparity, and it can be with all of our kind of senses, cognitive processing, kind of
Yeah.
emotional awareness, all different ways.
Okay, so I have a spiky profile as well. That's why I'm laughing. Like, got an ACE for A-level results, and that kind of very inconsistent. But yeah, the more we learn about ourselves, the more we can support ourselves. And it is so liberating to stop trying to be who you're not. And did the connection just go for a moment?
It did just go for a moment, but you're back now.
Okay. So how can people find you online? I'll include a short bio in the show notes, but where would you most like people to find you?
So you can have a look at my website, which is curiosityspot.co.uk. You can sign up for my newsletter there, or you
Okay.
can subscribe to my Substack if you want to get my blogs straight into your inbox however often I write them. I try and do twice a month, but we're gentle with the intention.
So that's curiosityspot.co.uk. There was a slight blip with the internet for a moment, but thank you so much for joining me. Absolutely delightful, and thank you so much for all the work you do. You make such a huge difference.
Thank you so much, Eden. Thank you for having me. It's been lovely.
Oh. Thank you for listening to the Feel Better Everyday podcast. As you listened, I wonder what you came up with in terms of how you might support your own mental and emotional health with what you eat and drink and potentially supplements, and just befriending your gut, befriending your brain, befriending your whole self. Do let me know in the comments. And if you haven't already and you'd like to get reminders with each new episode that goes out on Thursday mornings, you can subscribe via Substack, Spotify, Apple, YouTube if you want the videos, your favourite podcasting platforms basically. And this episode, like all, is produced by me, your host, Eve Menezes Cunningham. I'm looking forward to sharing next week's episode as we move into the heart chakra work as part of the Love Your Whole Self chakra journey. The delightful neuroscientist, best-selling author and former Fair City actor, Dr. Sabina Brennan, who has a brand new book out right now this month about the neuroscience of manifesting. So again, I interviewed her last year, but I am just delighted to be sharing her episode now. Hope you have a great week and enjoy it.